The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning and welcome to The Scoop, NANP's monthly hot topic educational webinar series. I'm Shannon Montoya, and I'd like to first remind you of a few things before we get started. These calls are recorded to listen to again at your availability on the nanp.org website. You can also earn 1 continuing education credit for participating in Scoop webinars and taking the corresponding quiz that can be found in the membership area of our website. I would also like to invite you to share your hot educational topic with NANP. NANP wants to highlight all that speaks to our nutrition professional community, so email me, Shannon, at nanp.org. Today's webinar will conclude with a question and answer session, so please feel free to type in your questions throughout the webinar into the questions tab so that we can get to as many as possible once our presenter has finished. And today, I'm so excited to introduce Christine Wachowski to you. Christine is a professional member of the NANP who I've had the pleasure of getting to know over the years. She's board certified in holistic nutrition and a certified gluten practitioner. Christine has beautifully woven her background as a chef together with her knowledge as a nutrition consultant to create individualized health plans for her clients using nutritious food, awareness about toxicity on physical, mental, and spiritual levels, as well as the power of exercise and movement to bring about balance, wellness, and greater vitality. Christine is the author of a beautiful book, Radiant Detox, your 21-day gateway to vitality, and she runs a 21-day virtual detox program twice a year. She also works with a concierge doctor in Las Vegas, Nevada, assisting with patients to support nutritional interventions in an integrative medical setting. And welcome, Christine. We are so proud and happy to have you with us today.
Oh, thank you, Shannon. It's such a pleasure, and I really appreciate this opportunity. And it's been such a great experience. I think it's been about 5 years that I've been a member with NANP, and just appreciate all of the really amazing hard work that you all do, really to support us in the field. And, I just want to, kind of send a big kudos to you and to the whole team, and just appreciate this organization so much. So it's such a pleasure to be able to be here, and also to be able to extend to the greater, NANP community. Of course, many I know and we see at the conferences, but it's great to be able to be here and to share something that I'm very, very passionate about, and that is the subject of detoxification. So today's presentation is called Body Wisdom Detox, and we are going to be exploring 3 different avenues. Number 1 is going to be the history of detox. And it was really amazing. As I was doing some research, I realized that there is not one book that I know of that has been written about the history of detoxification. Articles, yes, but there isn't a book. I went on Amazon to check if there is a book on the history of detox, and there isn't. So, of course, a little seed got in my mind, and I thought that would be a great thing to do because, as we all know, history is a really important facet of learning and education, and we need to see where things began, and that's where history plays such an important role. We're also going to talk a little bit about toxins in the environment, and this picture, I'm going to be bringing it up again full screen, but it's very poignant, and it really gripped me when I saw it, searching for images. The 3 monkeys, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, and it really is a very sad portrait, unfortunately, of what is going on in our world today, where the toxins are there, but there's such little regulation, and it's really very disheartening. But the good news is that there's a lot we can do to at least make our own sanctuary, our own dwelling place as toxin-free as possible. And then the last part is going to be this really very super practical room by room going through of the different areas that we can detoxify. So detoxification has a very, very long, broad history. I mean, we can go back as far as Hippocrates, and he actually was the one who, as we know, is considered the really the father of modern medicine. And he had this basis of medicine called the four humors. And in that is bile, phlegm, yellow bile, black bile, and blood. Now that word humors in the original language in the Greek is chymos, which literally means juice or sap. So this really is representing of the balance that should be in our body. And when our body is out of balance, that's when toxicity comes up. Judaism, as far back as it goes, we see again very strongly this idea of identifying what's clean and what's unclean. They're very particular about their foods and what they eat. And one of their feasts is called Yom Kippur, or rather, let's call it a holiday. And it's really a day of a 25-hour fast. So very relevant and very much seen in Judaism. Of course, Ayurveda, the Panchakarma is something that's very, very well known. The 5 therapies. This is something that goes back thousands of years. And again, extremely relevant even today, when we consider that it was about enemas and blood cleaning, herbal inhalations, which is basically your aromatherapy, heat therapy, also involving self-massage, body self-massage, eating this mono diet with khichdi, which is rice and beans. And by the way, for those who don't know, I actually lived in India for 7 years, and I had really an amazing opportunity to be able to study Ayurveda and see firsthand in life in India what and how deeply it penetrates in the society. Now, this was several decades ago, so I know things have kind of changed a bit, but it was really such an amazing experience to live in India. Egyptian culture, they did a lot of colonic irrigations. Our own people here, the Native Americans, the sweat lodges, that's been such a huge part of the culture. And again, this intense need and sense of needing to be purified, needing to come clean, both spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, really. Also the use of smudging, and this we see in other cultures as well, using various herbs that are wrapped like in a hemp cord and then burned. And this is particularly addressing bad karma, bad spirits, bad fields that are around a person. And also, of course, fasting is something that was done very religiously within the various cultures. Christianity, of course, we see a very big and long tradition with fasting and this real innate sense, again, about purification of the body, the mind, the soul, and the spirit. In fact, there's and the proper way to fast. We know in Islam, of course, Ramadan is a very, very important month, focusing again on spiritual, raising our spirituality and prayer and foregoing food during the day. Shamanic cultures, the Turks, the Mongols, all had various forms of detoxification. They believed strongly in a diet that would be adhered to from anywhere from 7 days to several weeks. And again, simplifying their food, having herbs, smudging again with various herbs is seen in the shamanic culture, and the use of medicinal plants. They were very much loving these berries and herbs and plants that really had very strong cleansing potential. The Mayan civilization also, they had the sweat lodges, and Persian civilization as well. They talked a lot about fasting for purifying. Traditional Chinese medicine, of course, is just so full of these different kinds of approaches for detoxification. And in fact, it's not so unsimilar to the modern chiropractic thinking, and that is that toxins are actually disturbing the balance in the body and need to be moved. About a lot about energy flow and blockages. Acupuncture, acupressure are all tools that are used in this endeavor. And again, focusing on the elimination organs and understanding that if they are not functioning properly, that there will be a cascade of disease from acute to chronic. So this is something we see very strongly. Phytotherapy in history has been really very pivotal in many cultures, and we see it throughout Europe. We see it throughout various cultures, and some of the herbs that in particular were powerful in Europe and also here in the United States are like angelica, cedar, cinnamon, juniper, rosemary, and sandalwood, and they all have some form of detoxification properties and were used very much for cleansing and stimulating the detox organs. All right, we're going to move now into the second part, and this is really like, what is it that we need to detoxify from? And of course, I know in a sense I'm kind of preaching to the choir here, because so many of you are very well educated in this area, and I'm sure use it and do address your various clients and people that you work with about the importance of removing toxic items from their environment, because they're just so very deleterious to our health and well-being. This is an amazing, amazing article that I just recently stumbled over, and I am going to kind of verbatim read this because it's really so powerful. So PLOS, which we all know is a very revered journal, recently sounded an alarm over global mass unregulated poisoning. And you can go ahead and go to that link, and you can read the full entire manuscript on it. And again, they're saying that really almost every human being is now contaminated in a worldwide flood of industrial chemicals and pollutants, most of which have never been tested for safety. This is something that is just shocking to me, really shocking, that we have allowed the floodgate of toxins to come into our nation to the tune of, I know now it's about 4,000 new chemicals that are introduced on an annual basis. And, you know, it's like the philosophy or the thinking is that it's innocent until proven guilty. And the organizations that are supposed to be protecting us, the EPA, the FDA, are not doing their due diligence to regulate these chemicals. So it's really a very sad state of affairs, very, very sad. And unfortunately, you know, what happens in the United States, you know, happens around the world. We introduce new chemicals, and then bam, it's not too much later that you see them, you know, introduced in other countries around the globe. So, you know, we kind of have set this ball rolling of an incredible body burden of toxins. I don't know if anyone has read this book, Silent Spring. If you have not, I highly, highly recommend you to get your hands on a copy, or at least read some of the, you know, information about it. But this woman is really the maitre d', let's say, of the whole environmental movement. And she wrote this book in 1962. This is a wonderful quote: "If we are going to live so intimately with these chemicals, eating and drinking them, taking them into the very marrow of our bones, we had better know something about their nature and their power." So this woman was working in, you know, different organizations in the government with, I believe it was Fields and Farms. Maybe that was one of the titles of the of the office at that point in time. But this was right after World War II. And there is a huge onslaught of like DDT and many different other chemical pesticides that were being brought into mainstream use. And she was very concerned and saw the really detrimental effect that it was having on nature, and that really biological systems were being affected in animal life, in the rivers and streams, and all the way around. So here we see really it's our water supply, it's our air, and it is our food that is being so affected, our soil that's being so affected by all of these toxins. And unfortunately, so many of them either do not decompose or they take 30 plus years to decompose. So, we are really looking at just compounding in our soils and in our waters and in our seas and in our air. So toxins are spewing out of our factories, our golf courses, agricultural fields, and water supplies. Not to mention the toxic pollution from all of the natural disasters we just saw last year. This is like very profound. During the time in the summertime when we were having all of these wildfires, I started doing some research about them because I know that the ash and also just the smoke is extremely toxic, and of course it gets caught up in our jet streams and it gets carried thousands of miles away. Can you imagine that? Literally thousands of miles away. In fact, I was having a very interesting conversation with Tamara Carr, one of our board members and friend and fellow compatriot, and she was telling me about a fire that occurred at the turn of the century. I think it was in 1902, and I believe it was in the state of Washington. Do you know that they are still finding residual ash from that fire in Antarctica now, so many years later? It's just horrific to think what the imprint that this sort of thing, these wildfires, have on our environment. So as we know what happens, even in China, all the coal burning, millions of factories in China, those that smoke, that carcinogenic matter gets caught up in the jet streams and literally travels around the globe. So, we are, I don't want to say we're doomed, but, we are in one environment. We share one world. What happens, here in the United States affects the entire globe. What happens in China affects the entire globe. So they're everywhere. They're in our homes. They're in our drinking water, in our food. They pollute our blood. They taint our urine, and the yet to be birthed fetuses of our unborn children. We all have read and know and have seen the study that was done through EWG, Environmental Working Group. And by the way, if there's anybody listening today that has never heard of EWG, the Environmental Working Group, I highly recommend that, at the close of this session that you would get on the, just Google it and earmark it and put it to your favorites, because it's one amazing, amazing nonprofit organization that is doing so much to make the world and the United States and everybody aware of these toxins. They have huge, huge databases of, everything from food to what we put on our body to, things in our home. They recently, and we're going to come up to this soon, but they recently did a huge database of our water. So you can actually go on there and find out what contaminants are in your particular water, in your area where you live. So where else do we find these toxins? They're in our mattresses, our cookware, our computers, our clothing, in our cars, our offices, and our homes. They affect what? Everything. They affect our neurology. They affect our digestive system. They affect our endocrine system, our reproduction. And to me, one of the biggest travesties is how they affect children and babies. I mean, again, going back to that study with EWG, I didn't follow up on that. I'm sorry. They discovered over 220 toxins in the first birthed, babies that are just coming to the world in their umbilical cord. So, there you go. Not even born and you're already contaminated with these toxins. Yeah, wow. We're not going to end on this negative note here, but they are at the crux and cause cancer, all kinds of chronic diseases, metabolic syndrome, all of the different hormonal dysregulations. I mean, the men today are not anywhere near the men of our grandfathers. They do not have the same testosterone levels. And this is one of the reasons why we see just such a huge shift and change in terms of just sexuality. They affect autism. They are at the crux of autism. Do you know that by 2025, which is just some short years away, ADD, ADHD, Asperger's, all of these learning disabilities are directly connected with the toxins that are in our atmosphere. Also, now we're seeing very clear connection with Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and dementia with all of the toxins that are in our body. That are in our atmosphere, excuse me. So here we go. We're going to delve a little bit into different things that we can do personally to daily detoxify ourselves. Of course, food is king, and what we eat will either heal or destroy our body. The most powerful thing you can put in your body is at the end of your fork. I tell people all the time, eat the rainbow. If you eat the rainbow, you're getting all the different nutrients that your body needs. There are specifically a lot of foods that are very high in the different chemicals that our body needs for detoxification, and they would be garlic, onion, broccoli, broccoli sprouts, asparagus, apples. Quercetin in apples is a great chelator. Carrots, avocados, Brazil nuts, very high in selenium, which are really needed for our body to rot. Mechanism for detoxifying heavy metals and other toxicants. Some of you maybe know that I'm a brand ambassador for a company called Pseudotonic USA, and I do sell a wonderful, beautiful far infrared piece of equipment. It's like an oversized sleeping bag, and I'm a huge proponent of sweat. Sweat is just critical for so many different things. Far infrared, the safe energy from the sun, is so very, very useful to get the body sweating. And this is a great study, by the way. This is kind of a benchmark study. It's called the BUS study, Blood, Urine, and Sweat. I encourage everybody to check that link out. It really details how your body definitely shuttles these heavy metal toxins out through sweat better and much clearer through sweat rather than urine or blood. Of course, having good bowel movements is absolutely critical for getting excreting toxins out of our body. So make sure that you encourage your clients and people that you're working with to have really a high fiber diet. We know that the American diet, because it's so filled with really processed foods and refined foods, we are extremely low in fiber, extremely low. And so, making sure to eat lots of vegetables and some of the safe grains that have, really good fiber in it is very important. Teas, all kinds of great teas that are great for detoxifying. And this is just a great slide to show you all the different plant foods that have potential to detoxify, many different ones, black raspberry, chamomile. All the cruciferous vegetables are great. Dandelion is very powerful in terms of being a great supporter of the liver and really cleansing us. The beautiful, garlic and ginger, onions, also peppermint, sweet potatoes. Now, I'm going to just be going through a few slides here of some really powerful foods that are great in the detoxification process. And you want to incorporate and have these in your, daily, weekly food planning. So beets are amazing, not just for detoxifying, but how they support cardiovascular and also, just your endothelial and making your blood vessels supple because of the nitric oxide. But the pigment that's found in beets, betalain, is shown to protect the liver and really keep it pumping along to detoxify our bodies. Chlorophyll, all of the wonderful deep green leafy vegetables, and really all green vegetables are green because of the chlorophyll, the pigment. And this is really important for, again, detoxifying and binding to especially your heavy metals. It also can do the same thing with carcinogens, which is very powerful. Asparagus. Oh, asparagus is an amazing vegetable for many different reasons. It also helps our brain, but consumed raw, it has the highest plant-based source of glutathione. And one of the things I was thinking about is, okay, most people steam asparagus. It was very interesting. I saw a slide on the government website which showed various vegetables, raw or cooked, and the levels of glutathione, and really glutathione almost is nil in the vegetables that do have them. So definitely raw is the way you want to go. They're very high in a raw state. One of the ways that you can use asparagus raw is to actually kind of shave it, and it makes it a delicious, absolutely delicious salad. Again, you can shave it and put it in salads, just even tossing it with some olive oil and some vinegar, just some nice seasoning, salt, and shaving it. You can make a great salad that way. All right, artichokes also are a very powerful chelator and detoxifier. They have some powerful chemicals called phenolic and also cynurin. These are very, very good to help support the liver. It's an antioxidant compound, also aiding in the bile production, which, as we know, is extremely important for digestion and also for, flushing toxins out of our body. Garlic. Oh, everything's better with garlic, right? Food is just an excuse for garlic, I often say. My husband, it's so funny because I am a complete lover of garlic. I don't think there's there's never a day that goes by that I don't put garlic in something. And he has a very, very sensitive sense of smell. So we're always having fun when it comes to garlic. But anyway, it's an organosulfur compound, which is called allicin, which has been really studied extensively. It has huge detoxifying properties and also very much supports the body in cardiovascular and all sorts of other ways that it helps us. Definitely very much cancer protecting as well. So add garlic to your diet. Broccoli sprouts. Oh boy. Every time we do Radiant Detox, I really have fun growing sprouts. And I always tell myself, why do you just kind of do it then? Do it more often. And so I actually do pull out my sprouting trays and do sprouting. I hope a lot of you do sprouting. It's a lot of fun. You can see these little plants literally grow before your very eyes. And usually within about 4 or 5 days, you have mature sprouts that are just loaded with very, very powerful phytonutrients. So the sprouts in particular have a product or a chemical called glucoraphanin. And this is really important for creating the sulforaphane. And when it's broken down, chewed, that's when it's released, the sulforaphane is released. And that's the compound that really, really supports detoxification. I recently, maybe in the last year, I came across somebody that I never had heard of before, surprisingly enough. And it's almost like my little girl crush here. She's an amazing, amazing, very, very smart woman. Maybe many of you have already heard of her. I can't believe it took me this long to stumble upon her. But anyway, her name is Dr. Rhonda Patrick, and she has a podcast called Found My Fitness. She is brilliant. Her kind of specialty is a lot of anti-aging and also sulforaphane, actually, and glucoraphanin is something that she's just enamored with. There's a great podcast that she did with Dr. Fahey, and it's about a 2-hour podcast, I want to say, but it is fascinating. I mean, anytime that you're either driving or, doing some work in the kitchen, pop that podcast in. It is just absolutely fascinating. I learned so much from her. Now, this is a slide, and this is a part of the culinary world that I'm so enamored with. I'm a total spice nut. I love spices. I think living in India, really, really got me so turned on to spice and seeing how powerful it is. They're like little tiny spectacles, little tiny, powders of incredible medicine, really. So this is a really good little statement to think about, that our ability to digest well is our ability to detox well. And I would have to say that that's a very true statement. These are great digestive spices. And in fact, I always make up this and keep it in a shaker next to my stove and just, shake it on everything, put a little bit in everything. So ginger, cumin, coriander, cardamom, and fennel. Teas, please, for detox ease. So there are some great teas. I absolutely love teas, and I know many of you do as well. They are powerful. They are just so good, and they taste so good, and they do so many good things for our body. Some of the really tried and true through, centuries are milk thistle, red clover, burdock, ginger, cilantro, chicory, dandelion, and fenugreek. These are great. Make them up, have them in different, you can have different potencies as well. I want to talk for a few minutes about fenugreek because that is it's actually a seed. That's a seed that we don't know so much about here in the West, but it's very, very popular in India and in other, Asian countries. Fenugreek is so incredibly powerful. Not only is it great as a detox seed that you can make a tea out of, or they crush it and they use it as a spice inside foods. You can use the leaves, which you can buy dried. In fact, in many Indian grocery stores, you can find dried fenugreek leaves, which then you can use as a tea, or you can rehydrate them, throw them in with spinach. Get to know fenugreek, embrace fenugreek. Another thing that fenugreek is very powerful for is it raises human growth hormone levels. Ta-da! Our, anti-aging youth hormone. So really, I encourage everyone to get to know fenugreek. Okay, we're going to move now into the more practical side of this presentation, and we're going to go room by room in our house and see where the toxins are. This is shocking. Do you know that household dust is incredibly toxic? Do you know that they even have found Roundup? Can you imagine Monsanto is what I like to call it sometimes. But anyway, Monsanto's active ingredient is found in household dust. Unbelievable. It creeps in through our, whatever spaces of our houses that let air in, and it's found in our house. So 45 potential toxins that are lurking in our house. Now, as we all know, the air outside and the environment outside, we have very, very little control over. However, and this was really the point of this webinar, we can do so much. We are very, very powerful people, and we can do so much when it comes to our own homes, our sanctuaries, the place that we spend, hopefully, a lot of time in. We definitely sleep in there, and we have this ambient air that's in our home that we absolutely can control. Is it an investment? Yes, it is. I would not, deny that or lie or say no. It is. It's an investment, and a pretty decent sized investment. But If possible, it's about $1,000 to invest in a central air purification system. And I recently came across Molecule. I'm not sure if anybody else has seen this or read about it. An Indian, actually, ta-da, is the creator behind it. He's a scientist, and his son was having very bad asthmatic issues and health issues. And he created this amazing room-to-room air purifier called Molecule. I do not have one yet, but I plan on getting it. And it's a great, great product, absolutely great. And in fact, it won one of the awards of 100 of the best inventions in 2017. So there you go. So people in developed countries spend more than 90% of their time in indoor environments. Indoor dust is a reservoir for commercial consumer products. Indoor dust consists of many different chemicals from many different classes. Phthalates occur in very high concentrations. Again, the chemicals in dust is just unbelievable and really wreaks havoc with our reproductive and endocrine system. Also very neurotoxic. And when you think about little babies that are crawling on the floor, it's like, oh dear God in heaven, please help our mothers to be as wise as they possibly can to make their homes as toxin free as they possibly can. So they're just everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. We need to do what we can to rid our homes from them. Okay, we're going to talk about food for a little bit here. So we know that there are many containers that we need to absolutely avoid buying food from if at all possible. Even the tins, the cans are all lined with bisphenol A, which is a plastic, which is an endocrine disruptor. It is highly lethal. It's a toxin that we just don't want to have anything to do with. It's in all plastics in our homes. It's the plastics that are on the tips of our eyeglasses, on the tips of our pens. They're in our saran wrap. They're everywhere. Also, these corrugated boxes that we see, the styrofoam boxes that are many times food is housed inside of them. If you have to buy from that type of thing, if you do have to buy foods, chickens, meats, whatever, usually that are found in these styrofoam containers, when you get home, just rip it open, take it out, and put it inside, like a glass container or a glass box, whatever. Again, tins, you want to avoid them completely because they do have that bisphenol A. And our fruits and vegetables, make sure that we're buying organic, make sure that we're buying non-GMO. And, even when I buy my organic and non-GMO, I still put my fruits and vegetables inside of a large container and put some raw apple cider vinegar and wash them, because there's even small, minuscule amounts of, toxins that are on them. So we know that there's a huge correlation between glyphosate, again, the active ingredient in Roundup, and different diseases. This is a slide you can go back to. I'm not going to spend much time on that. Okay, kitchen toxins. Now we're getting right into the nitty-gritty of things. So here we go. One of the biggest toxins is an oven cleaner. They release all kinds of nasty, nasty chemicals that are neurotoxins. We can substitute by making pastes of baking soda and water. Yeah, it's a little bit, pull up the sleeves and do some hard microwaves. You just don't want to use a microwave. Throw it out of the kitchen, get it out. The radiation, the EMFs, and then it completely, ruins any nutritional value in our food. So, really encourage your clients and the people that you are meeting with to get rid of their microwave. Don't use it. We have a very nice countertop. It's a Breville little tiny countertop oven, has a reheating setting. Within 15 minutes, your food is ready and hot So there you go. Get rid of all plastics, substitute glass, ceramic, stainless steel. There are some great cloth bowl wraps. I don't know if you've seen them as well as I have. Also bees wraps, and I've made my own. You can make your own. It's really simple to do. Just kind of Google the DIY for bees wraps, but they're a great way to cover food, to cover containers. Your cookware, make sure there's nothing that's non-stick, Teflon, aluminum, and many ceramic coatings also have lead in them, so you want to absolutely avoid that. Stainless steel, cast iron, glass, high quality ceramic, and then this whole new line of green cookware, which I haven't had personally any experience with, but obviously there's a lot of, I know Dr. Mercola has one on his website. Food, again, we want to make sure that it's organically grown, raised, GMO free, and wild caught fish. Water, this is again one of the big things that we do have control over in our home. So air and water, two of the most important life-giving commodities that we have, that we need. So most tap water is very toxic. It contains all kinds of nasties in it. EWG has got a great database. Again, make sure that you go back to this slide or make a note of it, and you can find out what are the toxins in your area. Reverse osmosis is a great system to use, a little bit expensive, and you have to make sure that you change the filters on a regular basis. Recently, we just have come across social media, Dr. Hyman promoting this AquaTrue. Again, I have not had any personal experience with it, but if he's promoting it, my guess is it's probably pretty darn good. So in the living room, carpets, the #1 cause of air pollution next to cigarette smoke. There's a great company I just came to find out about, and I ordered my first towels, and they are amazing towels. I love them. So it's called Under the Canopy, and they've got a whole lot of different great things for the home. They've got wonderful carpets, throw rugs. They've got stuff for kids. They've got toys, linens. So that's a great company to check out. Sofas and chairs, again, very toxic, flame retardants. There's this website that you can find safer sofas. Candles, even beeswax and soy candles release hydrocarbons. So the best thing yet, if you want to have this nice smelling home, is diffusing with pure essential oils. I know Shannon's a huge advocate of that, as well as I am, and it's just such a wonderful thing. And for candles, leave them for special occasions. The bedroom. Okay, this is something that Laura actually next month is going to talk about. Laura Adler, she's on next month, and she's going to be talking about different toxins that are actually obesogens. And recently I listened to a great YouTube video with Dr. Tom O'Brien and his sidekick. And one of the titles of what he talked about was, "How is my bedroom furniture making me fat?" It's a great YouTube little video to watch. But anyway, yes, particle board, pressed wood, all outgassed formaldehyde and other toxins that are obesogens. So tune in next month to learn more about that with Laura. I'm going to put a big plug in for that. What is a good substitute? Solid wood furniture. Linens, make sure again that you're buying organic or other natural fibers. Okay, in the bathroom, cleaners, most bathroom cleaners are bleach-based. Substitute with a great DIY cleaners that you can make on your own, or buy some great ones that are in the health food stores. Get rid of vinyl shower curtains, especially because they're heated up. They outgas even when they're cold, but they outgas even more when they're heated up. So just toss that vinyl shower curtain and instead just use cotton. Towels, make sure again that they're organic. Nursery, oh, this is something so near and dear to my heart, because these little babies, you just don't want to see them exposed to all of this crappy chemicals in their tiny little bodies. Mattresses, oh my gosh, I just recently saw a very interesting article about that, and how babies' mattresses, not only are they outgassing VOCs and phenols and all of these other horrible chemicals, but they even have fragrance. fragrances that they put inside of them that are just so neurotoxic and bad for our skin and for our lungs. Again, the Clean Bedroom is a source that you can go to that lists a bunch of different great alternatives. Baby wipes, hey, soap, right? Laundry room, dryer sheets. Oh my gosh, after you've not had dryer sheets around, sometimes when I go running, I'll pass by a home and I'll smell, because of course it's coming out from the laundry room, I'll smell dryer sheets. I want to puke. They're just so toxic with the again, you know, the different alcohols and terpenes and the smell, different things that they put in there to make them smell nicely. So make your own dryer balls, or again, health food stores have great non-toxic dryer sheets. Detergent, you know, just don't use the regular laundry detergent. They are filled with really horrible things. And, you know, just use borax. There are a lot of DIY great recipes that you can find out about. Outside on the porch or deck, this is something that, again, is pretty scary because most decks all are made from pressure-treated wood. They have preservatives in them that, you know, help to keep them free from insects and to prevent rot. A lot of nasty chemicals, and formaldehyde is one of them, and also arsenic. Arsenic actually is the main ingredient. So if you already make sure you use products that are non-toxic. Then in our yard, of course, many people, we live in the desert, so we have desertscape. They, in fact, pay us out here to remove grass so that we're not depleting the water supply. But, you know, in areas around the country where there are beautiful green yards, how do they get so beautiful and green? Well, they need a lot of chemicals to make them look that beautiful. Fertilizers, weed killers, pesticides, all very harmful to kids and pets. So again, make sure you're switching to organic lawn treatments, but keep them in low doses, because even in high doses, they can be very toxic. Okay, I'm kind of trying to speed through here, and we're at the end, and I just want to kind of talk for a few minutes. Again, this is a cover of my book, Radiant Detox. It's available on Amazon. It was actually, we launched it a year ago, Christmas time. And it is a guide that goes along with the program that I do. And it features recipes both for a spring detox and for a fall detox, because our bodies need completely different nutrients, actually, and different microbes that come out of the ground, both in the spring and in the fall, very differently in order to, you know, detox our bodies well. So I do have very specific recipes for spring detox and very specific recipes for a fall detox. And we have the next detox program coming up on March 20th through April 9th. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful program. I really encourage all of you to either join up, or if you want to reference me to people that you're working with that are interested in a detox. It's a great 21-day program. Shannon's actually been with me a couple of times, and we go through every single system in our body. I begin with the immune system, digestive system, respiratory system, cardiovascular system, endocrine system, neurological system, and then we end up with the integumentary system, hair, skin, and nails. We spend 3 days on each system, and we go through all the foods that are supportive and detoxing and you know, just nourishing for each system of the body. And we really look at not only the physical detox, but also how to detox really from critical self-thinking, negativity, and you know, spirituality. It's wonderful. I incorporate a lot of physical activity also, which is going to be good for each system. So there you have it. Okay, thank you so much. Let's go over to some questions.
All right. Thanks, Christine. That was great. And just, yes, Christine's book is beautiful. She is also a chef, And as you can imagine, the recipes and the inspiration that come from her classes are really phenomenal and amazing and supportive. So yeah, just a couple of questions and a couple of comments. One of the things you were talking about was bisphenol A, and I'm noticing a lot more in the grocery stores, they're advertising these cans, these vessels for containing, fruits and vegetables and soups. Do you know anything about these new cans that do not contain, that they're advertising as to not containing the bisphenol A's?
Yes, excellent question. And I meant to actually cover that, so I'm so glad that you asked it. Yeah, so some of these other chemicals that are coming out of the bisphenol group is like bisphenol S, and there are a couple of others that are being introduced. I recently came across a very good article concerning this, and they literally are saying that these chemicals are not showing to be any better. In fact, some of them are even worse than bisphenol A, so they are highly suspect, and it's still too early to know, but the jury's a little bit out, but the definite idea here and the definite thinking is that they are not any better, and don't buy the advertising, stint there that this is BPA free. Best to just get out of the entire realm of plastics altogether.
Okay, good to know. Make your own soup. Can your own vegetables in jars. Excellent. So you touched on household detergents. I just want to throw in there personal care and hygiene products are just absolutely disgusting. And there are so many wonderful, simple, easy ways to make do-it-yourself products at home just using simple ingredients that are in your kitchen. Baking soda, you mentioned borax, washing soda, which is basically just wood ash. So easy to, I make my own laundry detergent. I make my own dishwashing detergent. I scent them with my pure essential oils the way I like them. When I walk into people's homes, I can smell those things like the first thing, and they're very irritating to somebody who's very sensitive like myself. So I would like to, just kind of expand on the household that you brought up, detergents and cleaners, and expand that into personal care. Do you want to expand on that a little bit, maybe?
Yes, excellent. And you know what? This is so my bad, because I had a excellent image that shows a girl, and on the side, I had put all different types of, chemicals that are in personal care products. So yeah, I meant to have that slide in there as well, and I just totally forgot about it. But this is the statistic. I mean, this is really scary that within the first half hour that a woman rises, in her preparation to go out the door to work, typically the typical woman puts on over 220 chemicals on her body.
Yeah.
That's horrific. That's absolutely horrific. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. It's shocking. One more thing, and just before we leave that, candles. I have found some really beautiful diffusers that actually have the flicker of, that give you the effect of the candle. And you can actually add your own essential oils, but you've got that little flickering light, just to create that ambiance. There's so many beautiful diffusers that are coming out these days. I just wanted to kind of throw that in there as well. You talked about saunas a little bit, Christine, and can you just kind of briefly tell us a little bit how often it's recommended? Is it for everybody? Should everybody be using saunas, or is there a population that may not be as supported by the sauna?
Excellent question. Yes, there are populations that should be very careful about sauna use. Not many, but for example, pregnant women. Pregnant women should be very careful about sauna use, especially in the first trimester. In fact, my niece is pregnant with twins, and she has one of my saunettes, and we discussed that, and I sent her some literature to support, the importance of being very, very careful about not raising your body temperature too high. So that's one population. And then little tiny babies and children, again, you want to be careful. Now, children, I would say, from the age of 6 on, if they're coming down with the sniffles. When my daughter was younger, I used to throw her in my sauna to just stop a cold, but I wouldn't put the temperature very high. Keep it on a rather lower setting, and it would do the trick. But other than that, it is really an amazing modality for so many different sicknesses and diseases and maladies. I mean, everything from, rheumatoid arthritis to fibromyalgia. All kinds of cardiovascular conditions are helped tremendously through regular sauna use. And, weight loss, of course, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. But even people that are anorexic, there are clinical studies that have been done that show that people that are anorexic are supported and helped through regular sauna use. It helps with people that have SAD, seasonal affective disorder, depression, and then everything from, peripheral neuropathy because of diabetes. The list goes on and on and on. So it's a very amazing modality and protocol for a lot of different imbalances in our body.
Yeah, and I've been seeing some new sauna systems that are, talking about far infrared and near infrared and color spectrums. Can you kind of share it with us, like what is the best to be looking for when we're shopping for saunas?
Sure. I mean, obviously the ultimate sauna would be one that can switch from far infrared to near infrared. Both of those spectrums do some similar things, but then also different things. For example, far infrared has just a huge spectrum, and it's almost a panacea for so many different diseases and sicknesses and injuries. Whereas the near infrared tends to really reach to the mitochondria and stimulate the mitochondria. And it's also very good for especially things like wound healing. So it definitely has that aspect to it. So I think, and then of course you can get some really fancy ones that have light therapy and even, diffusing different essential oils in it as well. So you can really get into some fancy and expensive saunas. I've also seen, I haven't tried it yet, but I've seen people who have actually made their own near infrared, and that's basically through using near infrared red bulbs, and they can kind of hook it up and put it in their shower. So there's some DIY projects out there that you can do to create your own near infrared. My personal product is a far infrared product, and I get a lot of use out of it. I use it once every week for an hour and a half at the highest setting for a full-blown detoxification. It's just absolutely amazing, and you feel so clean afterwards. But recently was sick with a little bit of a flu cold after I was exposed to it from my daughter, and I was able to really get over it quickly, very, very quickly, because of using, again, the far infrared sauna. So I'm a huge advocate of sauna use. If your local gym has one, great, use it. Steam room is different. Steam heat is very, very different. Kind of good if you're congested, but definitely the infrared systems that are harnessing the safe energy from the sun is really the way you want to go.
Oh, that's great. Thank you for including that. I was thinking that while you were talking about the steam system, so thanks for that. We are just about out of time. I want to quickly ask this question. Can you recommend a house filtration system for your water? Something that you may use or recommend to your clients?
Yeah, again, I would really go on.
Uh-oh. Christine,
can you hear me?
oh, there you are. We lost you for a moment. Can you please restate that?
Oh, certainly, yes. So I would suggest that people go to the EWG website and go to their database to find out what toxins are in their local water, because it really changes dramatically from one area of the country to the next. For example, we know about the horrible situation in Flint. They had chemicals that were being dumped in because of waste products coming from their different factories. But definitely a reverse osmosis system is great. I'm going to be purchasing the Aqua Pure that Dr. Hyman is supporting. I watched the video on it and read some material about it, and it seems like it's a very good system that really is totally broad spectrum. It'll take anything out, any toxin out of your water. So I would encourage people to check that Aqua. I think it's what Aqua Fresh. Is that what I said?
Aqua Pure?
Aqua Pure. I'm sorry. Aqua Pure. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you. Well, we are at the top of the hour, Christine, and we really appreciate the time that you spent with us sharing this information. Lots of good insights and things to go out and research. So thanks again for being with us today.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. And thank you, everybody, for joining us on The Scoop. We would like to invite you to mark your calendars for next month's presentation, as Christine mentioned. Laura Adler is an environmental toxins expert and educator, and she will be here on Thursday, February 8th. And she will be talking about obesogens and how they contribute to metabolic disorders. So we'll look forward to that. Mark your calendars and have a safe and wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for joining us.